Essay writing is going to be a part and parcel of your academic life, whether you like it or not. So, it will be good for you at this point to know the different types of essay you will be writing as a student. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial video. Teacher LJ here. You might be asking at this point, why do we need to learn the different types of essay? Well, how you write your thesis statement and your supporting paragraphs largely depend on the type of essay you are writing. So it's very important that you become familiar with the different types of essay. Speaking of thesis statements and supporting paragraphs, if you haven't watched my video on the basics of how to write an essay, I suggest you stop this video right here and watch that video first, because it will be very hard for you to follow along if you don't know the basics of writing an essay. I will put the link in the description below. You can go check it out. We have 4 different types of essay in English: narrative essay, descriptive essay, expository essay, and persuasive essay. Their basic difference is in their purpose. Purpose is king. What I mean by that is the purpose you have for writing will influence what you write, how you write, and the structure you would use. For instance, your professor might ask you to write a story. If that's the case, then you should go for a narrative essay. When you hear the word narrative, that's what it means. It's a story. So with that, you can write several topics like how I became a Christian. You can share your testimony, or how you met your wife or spouse, or even you can talk about an experience that taught you certain values or certain character traits, like an experience that taught me generosity, something like that. And sometimes your professors would ask you to describe a person, a place, an experience, or an event, an object, whatever. If that's the case, then you will be writing a descriptive essay. Descriptive comes from the root word describe, and that's what you basically do with this kind of essay. Some possible topics that you can write on when it comes to descriptive essay are the life of a missionary. So you're going to be showing us what it's like to be a missionary. Or you can also write a character profile on a specific character of the Bible, like the character profile of Abraham. You can talk about his qualities, you can talk about his life, or you can also take us on a tour of your hometown and help us to imagine what it's like to be there. You can talk about how beautiful the sceneries are. You can talk about the smell of the fresh air, or if it is fresh or not. Or you can talk about the different sounds you will hear. In other words, with this kind of essay, you would want to appeal to the emotions or to the senses of a person. Sometimes your professors would ask you to explain a subject or convey information or personal insights. If that's the case, then it is an expository essay you will be writing. Expository essay, compared to other essays, has a wider range of topics, since your goal is to inform or to explain. And some of those topics include similarities and differences between Buddhism and Christianity, Or you can also talk about the advantages and disadvantages of social media. Or you can also talk about how to survive in a graduate school. Lastly, if your professors would ask you to express an opinion about a certain issue or a subject, then you will be writing a persuasive essay. Persuasive comes from the word to persuade. If you try to persuade someone, then that means you're trying to convince that person to agree with your opinion. For example, should we get COVID vaccines? Or should a government ban smoking on a national level? Or in the Christian context, can Christians drink alcohol? Or should Christians support death penalty? Yeah, the last two topics are gray areas when it comes to Christianity. When we say gray areas, the Bible is silent about them. So there's neither right nor wrong. That's why Christians have different points of view. If you love watching debates like I do, then you are very familiar with topics like these. And I would say that persuasive essay is kind of a written debate. You know, they use the same language, they use the same words. You also put forth arguments. Yeah, so if you love watching debates, then you have an advantage when it comes to this kind of essay. Now let's talk about thesis statements and how you can support them in your paragraphs. Again, if you don't know what a thesis statement is, I suggest you watch that video that I was talking about earlier. But basically, what a thesis statement is it contains the main idea of your essay. It's very important. It's a very important statement because what you write in your paragraphs will be determined by your thesis statement. Okay, let's start with the narrative essay. And I have some good news for you. You don't need to write a thesis statement for your narrative essay. Yay! Because remember, your goal for writing a narrative essay is simply to tell a story, right? So it's up to your readers to figure out what are you trying to get at in your story? What lesson are you trying to impart in your story? So you can just leave them guessing. But one thing very important that I want to stress at this point is that you have to make sure that your narrative essay has a plot. When we say plot, it's the series of events in your story. Of course, every story, for example, should have a conflict, right? It must have a climax. If there's no problem in the story, then there is no story, right? And after the conflict, there is the solution, resolution, and of course, after the resolution, you have the outcome or the result. What happened after that? So just make sure that there is a plot in your story. However, if your professor would ask you to write a thesis statement for your narrative essay, then you can simply write the lesson or the message you want to convey with your story. So, for example, you're writing about an experience that taught you how to be generous. So, your thesis statement can be something like, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." Something as simple as that, because that's the lesson you want to impart in your story, right? And in the body part of your essay, you only need to write the story itself, the experience that you had that taught you it is more blessed to give than to receive. Now, for descriptive essays, your thesis statement should contain a general or major description of the subject you're writing about. So in the body of your essay, you will be writing a detailed description of your subject, right? So In the thesis statement, you should be writing a general or major description that kind of encompasses these descriptions that you will be writing in the body part. For example, you're writing about a character profile of Abraham. So your thesis statement could be something like, despite his many weaknesses, Abraham is an example worth following when it comes to faith and obedience. So with this statement, you are giving your readers a general impression about Abraham. And in the body part of your essay, you can write about the specific qualities that make Abraham worth following, especially those qualities that have something to do with his faith and obedience. For expository essays, your thesis statement should contain a statement that explains what you found out about the topic you are writing on. For example, you're writing about how to survive graduate school. So if that's your topic, then your thesis statement should answer the question how, because that's your topic. It depends on what you are writing about. If your topic is the reasons why you should consider interracial marriage, then your thesis statement should answer the question why. Let's look at this example of a thesis statement. Actively engaging in school activities, establishing study habits, and living a balanced life help one survive graduate school. There are two things you can notice in this thesis statement. The first one is it answers the question how, which is the topic. The second one is it gives you an overview of what you can expect in the paragraphs in the body part of the essay. The first paragraph will talk about actively engaging in school activities, the second, establishing study habits, and third, living a balanced life. So, in a thesis statement for your expository essay, you want to provide kind of a roadmap for your readers so that they can have an overview of your outline. Lastly, when it comes to persuasive essays, remember, your goal, your purpose is to express an opinion. And that's exactly what you do in your thesis statement. So in your thesis statement, you should be able to express a clear stance on the issue that you are writing about. For example, if your topic is on the reinstatement of the death penalty in your country, that is, you want to put back death penalty in your country, your thesis statement can be something like this. Although many Christians are apprehensive about reinstating the death penalty, it is high time to reinstate it because it restores one's fear of God, upholds the value of human life, and is effective in preventing crimes. So with such a thesis statement, you can see that the author is very clear about his stance. He is pro-death penalty. And you can also see an overview of what he's going to be writing in his paragraphs. First paragraph points out that death penalty restores one's fear of God. Second, it upholds the value of human life. And the last one will point out that it's effective in preventing crimes. And that ends our video on the different types of essay. I hope you were enlightened, and I hope you're feeling confident to write essays. This is Teacher Alj, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you.